Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit is here, back again with My Hero Academia Season 4. We're on episode 13, and in the last episode it was another fantastic one. If you recall from my episode 11 post discussion, I was saying how I feel like My Hero Academia has gone on, it'll be going on a run of like episodes where they all encompass under one, and they're all like, it's essentially just watching like, I mean, it's not, because obviously you have to wait week to week to actually watch it, but essentially I like to encompass episodes like all in one in a way, similar to like I did with Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2. There was a group of episodes there, like 3 episodes that all encompassed almost as one, and I like to group those 3 episodes sort of together as one, because I felt that like it was like a sort of a mini arc within those few episodes, you know, and I feel like that's what we're getting here, where every episode is just stellar. So obviously episode 11 with Lemillion, right, fantastic episode, fantastic character episode for him. Last episode, episode 12, which was obviously Deku, Aizawa and Night Eye coming in to save Mirio at the last second, and of course, you know, what occurred is crazy. With Night Eye getting skewered, fucking hell, I don't see how he gets out of that alive, man. Like, it looked like when I was watching it that he was skewered through the heart, and I was like, there's no way you can't tell me that's through the heart. Then I looked back, and it could be right below, but fucking hell, it's bloody close if it is. And I wrote down some stuff that I kind of wanted to go over. So, did Overhaul insert a bullet into Night Eye? There was a moment where he did take one out before he... what was it? Was it when he went to charge Night Eye and Mirio the first time? He did take out another bullet, so I don't know if he inserted one just without the use of a gun, you know. I don't know, and that's why it cut off, as opposed to like some other reason, you know, because he said that like there was he was trying to find the future that got all the kids out, right? Now I thought that was interesting. He was like, let me see the one future or whatever, and I don't know if he was just trying, like, saying it to be like, I hope I'm lucky and I find the right future that gets him out, because I thought he could only see one based upon who he is telling the future off of. Right now, I don't like who was he trying to see the futures of? Was it himself? Was that what it was? I don't know, because I mean they did obviously bring up the whole like, does he create the sort of destiny thing by seeing the futures and whatnot, and maybe he actually does. Maybe that is actually a thing. You know, I don't think Deku's dying, so I don't think that's the reason why his foresight got cut off. I think it may be possible that Overhaul did implant a bullet within him, and I don't know if it could be a case of like it didn't penetrate enough, maybe, so it doesn't get rid of his entire quirk, but it might. I don't know. It could be something like that, and that's the reason why it obviously cut off the future thing. And it just happened to be like at the inopportune time where like blood just shoots up in front of Deku, you know. But you know, we'll see what happens with that. What else? The Twice in Toga plan. I didn't actually go into that in the last episode because I completely forgot. Because it was just like a little thing within that episode. I think it's to take Eri. I think that's what they were going for, because they were talking about how like, oh well, the fight between them is going to be so like, you know, that they're both sides are going to be hurt, that we can just go in and take something that will hurt Overhaul. And what would hurt Overhaul the most? Eri. So I think that's their plan, is to try and take Eri. Also, I wrote down, how does Eri's quirk work without the bullet? You know, like, because if they're taking it from her, what does she have, like a counter sort of gene quirk that just counters quirks? You know, which would be weird, because I feel like her quirk wouldn't work, you know, like it would have to be, the makeup would have to be different. But I don't know, I just wrote that down anyway. Other than that, we had Ryukyu come fucking blasting through the roof with both Sue and well, I can't remember her name. I've completely blanked on her name. Oh no, that's not good. Why the fuck can't I remember? Oh my god, I'm just going to have to play it, and I'm sure her name will come up. I apologise. It's because she hasn't been involved a lot, and like, I completely forgot. Shit. This is going to do my head in. It's going to do my head in. I know I've got it on here. I know I do. Where is it? I'm going to get it. I know it is. Where? Oh, Chaco, that's it, man. Fuck's sake. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's my fault. My brain just completely exploded. I just couldn't remember. Right. That happens sometimes, you know. Anyway, yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. I'm sick of rambling on. I just want to get into this episode and see what we get. So you can go watch the episode, obviously, with the link down in the description below. And if you do want to go watch the full length without any, cuts and anything like that, then you can do by becoming a full length tier patron over on my Patreon as well. Okay, so yeah, go and enjoy that. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to get episode 13. Let's go. Oh, I can't believe what I've just watched. Fucking hell. I mean, when the title popped up, which, by the way, they should have waited on that. I mean, wasn't it episode 11 with Lemillion when, like, the title, like, for the actual episode was, like, way into the episode? They should have done that. Because as soon as they mentioned it too early, like 100%. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you just knew it was coming. And even if there was any inkling that you wouldn't, like, the fact is that you would be expecting it. So if it didn't happen, you would just be disappointed. So they just had, like, oh man. I mean, even so though, even though I was expecting it, I wasn't expecting that. That's crazy. Fucking hell. You looked insane. You know, I got so much satisfaction from seeing that first kick, because it was like I even got satisfaction from him, like, realizing that he was so high up, because it didn't occur to him, like, what just happened. The reason why was because he wasn't the one that initiated the power. Eri was rewinding, I guess, to a point in time where Deku always used 100%, but what it didn't rewind was his physical state. So it's not like his body was back at that point when he was always using 100% and it breaking and whatnot, but his quirk had rewound. So yeah, we'll get into that in a sec. But yeah, I just want to take in, like, what I've just watched, because I think yeah, I just got so much satisfaction from seeing Deku, like, do the things that you associate with All Might when he fights. When he was up there in the air and he jumped up and he forgot, like, you know, he didn't forget, he just didn't realize how he got up there. The first image that actually cropped into my mind was from the Two Heroes movie, at the very beginning, like the very opening sequence when All Might fights against that guy who was, like, stealing all the cash and stuff, and he jumps off the hood of David Shields', like, bonnet of his car and goes flying up. That was, like, the first image that got him in my head. And then when he smashes him, like, fucking so far up into the air, man. God. You know, and then the satisfaction from, like, Night Eye seeing that happen. But, could you imagine? I hope there's, like, a news chopper or something that caught that so that All Might can see it. Oh, can you imagine All Might seeing that? Fucking hell. Oh, it would be, I mean, the satisfaction that I really get from this is Night Eye, because I think it's that final, like, it's like he approves now, like he knows that it was the right decision at this point. I think, especially that at the end, like that last little, you know, screen grab there, that was Night Eye smiling. And that could be for a lot of different reasons. I think it's approving of Deku being the one to have inherited One for All. Also relief. I think, like, because he's had this within him, like, you know, within him for so long, that it's him that's causing people to die if he dwells too far into someone's future. Basically causing some event to happen because he's the one that... So if he didn't, you know... Because that's a kind of quirk that you can't really, like, to experiment with thinking that you are the one that's creating the destiny for someone, and it's not really seeing the future more than it's literally just creating it. Seeing something that he knew was going to happen. Like, he knew that it was going to happen. And then it didn't. And it's something different. The question is, are we talking about in this show a case of there is one future, right? I guess it would be the same any other way, wouldn't it? Like, he changed the future, he had to have. Because I don't think it's a case of like different futures and stuff. I'm just thinking like Steins Gate rules, like world lines and shit. You know, like there's a different future going on where Deku did die. But you know, I'm thinking it wasn't Deku himself that caused the change, though. I think it was Eri. Because, hear me out here. I think what like. I wonder if there's a case for Night Eye's quirk, right? Seeing the future and everything like that. Is there things that he can't see? I think there is, right? I think I've asked this question before on a previous post discussion where I said that if Night Eye, because he's only looking at one person's future, right? And I asked, like, I think it was during the time when Deku and Mirio first met Overhaul, like in the alleyway, right? And I said, like, how was he aware of everything that was going to go down? Like, how was he aware that Overhaul would come into the picture? Because he's come from somewhere different. Like, surely you only see the person that you're seeing the future of. So my question is, who is he seeing in the future? If he's seeing Deku, and Deku's in the middle of a fight with Overhaul, is he seeing Overhaul's moves as well? Because I wonder if what he was seeing there was something that he was looking at. I don't know what I suppose Deku. It must have been. He was looking at. I think he was looking at Deku's future, and I think what he never accounted for was Eri, or Eri's quirk. Because he didn't know Eri's quirk, right? He didn't know what it was about. Nobody did aside from Overhaul. So I wonder, because they both are to do with time, that with Eri on there, it seems like what she's doing, because Deku said, like, I've got to, you know, fight and keep going as long as she's like sort of healing me, which allows Deku to fight at 100% the whole time. Actually, yeah, I've just answered my question from before, isn't it? It's not that he's diverted back to 100% before. It's that he's using 100% and Eri's healing his body the whole time. Like, it's basically in constant rewind every time he gets, like, he's getting injured by the 100%. So it does hurt, but it keeps healing at the same rate, kind of thing. But I wonder if because Deku's in a state of constant rewind, that it doesn't account for certain things that Night Eye's future is. Where Night Eye's probably looking at the Deku in 100% in his future, and he's seeing his body get torn up by the 100% and whatnot, and eventually it just becomes too much, and then Overhaul kills him. Whereas with Eri constantly, you know, in sort of, well, she's not in control, but the fact is that she's in constant, like, rewind mode. Not being able to control it, but to the point where it's just continuously rewinding Deku's injuries. I think that's how the different future ended up. That's my theory, anyway. Because I'm trying to think, like, why would Deku just being able to, like, you know, just using 100% change anything? You know, like Deku changing. So I get that, like, the whole idea is, like, Deku's like, I'm going to smash that future and everything like that. So I would like to believe that it's Deku, but I'm just trying to think within, like, the sort of logic of the world. I don't think it would be right. It doesn't seem right that Deku would be able to just change something because of sheer will, even though that's what Shonen likes to do. You know, but I feel like there has to be some logic in it, and I think it's because of Eri. So as long as Eri's involved, healing at the same rate, that's what, you know, accounts for it. That's what I was asking before about. Is there things that are in place that if Night Eye doesn't know, he's unable to see the outcome? Because, you know, the question of, like, being able to see somebody's future, somebody's specific future, it would have to account for the people that are affecting his future at the same time. So he's looking at, like, people being certain places at some time Like, even though he's not looking at their future, just because they come into contact with Deku or whoever he's looking at the future at. So I don't know. But if he's unable to see, if he doesn't, obviously, like I said, if he doesn't know the quirk of Eri, then would he be able to account for that would the quirk that he has account for knowing that and how it would affect things? I don't think so. But I think there's a reason why Eri's and Night Eye's quirk to do with time. It would make sense to me that another time quirk would be the one that would be able to affect the future thing, see in the future. That's my theory. But yeah, that was, oh god. So fucking hell. I feel like every episode, we go back to flashbacks with Night Eye, Overhaul, and he's doing different shit that we weren't even, So he made the one that was just, because I was like, oh god, it annoys me when I'm like, when my theory crafting gets completely undone in one fell swoop. Because a couple episodes ago, I think it was the Lemillion one, I said that I'm sure Overhaul basically hates quirks and wants to rid them of the whole world. He doesn't. It's just as simple as having the monopoly on everything, and the Shihei Saikai being as prominent as it used to be and being the biggest thing, and that's all it is. Because they were making, I don't know if they've ever made them, the counteracting thing, so you can reverse time and give back the quirk to someone who's lost it. Now, if they've already got it, if they've already made it, I don't know if they have, but theoretically, Eri could bring back Mirio's quirk. Now, I remember saying, like, a couple episodes ago with Lemillion, in regards to Lemillion, like, if there was a way to bring it back, I think actually I did say, like, the only way we'd be able to bring it back is if there was a rewind time quirk. And what do you know? This is it. The only thing is, I think that they won't allow it. And I remember saying with Lemillion, I said, I don't know if it's a good idea if they did find someone with a rewind time quirk, that they should give it back to Mirio. I remember saying like something like, maybe it's better for the character and the story that he doesn't get it back, because you can't just keep rewriting all of these, all of the bad things that happen, because then there's no consequences to the show. So this, like, I guess it goes hand in hand with what I was talking about, like saying that I hope they don't substitute this losing quirk thing for a death, because I mean, I guess Overhaul can bring someone back from death, but it has to be like pretty relatively quick afterwards. So, but I just think, considering what Mirio did in that episode, it was so huge, and I think it works in tandem with the story about how the whole build up with Night Eye and thinking that Mirio was the best one to inherit One for All and all of that, and how Mirio was so like so good, like so fucking good, and it feels horrible to say it this way, but don't take it literally. It's just the best way I think I can describe it. It's almost like a wall for Deku. Like it's an obstacle in Deku's way. Mirio's an obstacle in Deku's way. I know that sounds harsh, but I don't mean it that way. If that makes sense. Like, I don't mean it literally. I mean it as like, story-wise, the character of Mirio comes in to be like, he could easily be the fucking like the next symbol of peace. Like, he could have easily been that without the One for All thing. And I think because they brought up this whole thing with Night Eye not being approving of Deku because he thought Mirio should have had it, by Mirio going out and losing his quirk, and like I said beforehand with the poetic thing of him saving one instead of a million, which is what the whole million thing is based off of, like I think there was some poetic nature in that, and him having lost his quirk doesn't mean he has to stop being a hero, but I think because he doesn't have his quirk anymore, like there's something visceral about that I feel like will be lost if you're just going to give it back to him. Like, it would be nice, yeah, like I'll be like, oh my god, he's got it back, I feel for him, but like, it's that knowing of like, I don't want it to diminish anything in the story next because of something that might happen that should be bad, and subconsciously I'll be watching something and thinking like, oh, it's all right, that character died, but there'll be something that brings him back. You know, I don't want that to happen now. So I think what will happen, because theoretically Eri should be able to rewind and get Mirio's quirk back, right? Like, just based upon how it works, that should be able to happen. What will happen, I believe, because they did confirm it here, which I was right. So they are trying to take Eri. That's the plan. So either they take Eri, right, and then that removes this whole thing of Mirio getting his power back. I guess at least for now, because I guess she can take it back to when, like, to however long ago or whatever. She can take it back, like, to a person to where they're fucking nothing but a sperm, you know. And then nothing before that, you know. Basically reduce them to nothing by rewinding time too far. Now, if she got control of it, like she kind of, it seems like she does here. She has control of it here. She's obviously not doing it of her own accord. It's kind of like a subconscious thing that she's just doing it to. It's like a way to protect Deku, but it's just kind of happening, like, you know, randomly. She's trying her best, right, and it's working at the moment. But when it comes to something like that, I feel like So yeah, I mean, basically to stop the whole thing of giving Mirio his quirk back, it'll be either the League take her and she's not available for it, or Eri. Or they just don't allow Eri to go near Mirio because just in case she actually fucking does reduce him to nothing and kills him, and there would be something like that. So yeah, so basically, yeah, Mirio didn't come back then. I mean, he was in a real fucking bad way, so he's probably fucking fainted somewhere in there. I'm surprised that. I mean, God, someone needs to get in and fucking get him out of there. Because he's left in there right now, and I mean, I've been bigging up Night Eye and everything like that, but fucking hell, like, Eri came back. Where's Mirio, mate? You need some concern for Mirio right now. I get it though. Times are like, you know, the situation at hand. It's like the fucking everything's going nuts right now. I mean, if I was to say fucking Deku like that, I mean, I didn't think I'd be able to take my eyes off him either. So there's that. But I like the fact that Lemillion's cape came back into it. That was nice. You know, so it was obviously blown around in all of the fucking chaos. And it was I love that because it's a symbol. In a way, it's a symbol of peace on its own. You know, like the calm and you know, safe nature that Lemillion has basically bestowed upon the world. That a cape is there to, you know, to comfort those and protect people and keep them safe. To, like, you know, to those who are wrapped in it. Like, in a way that's great, because then the once could have been where in another future, talking about future, in another sort of, you know, alternate universe where Mirio did become, like, he did get one for all and become the next symbol of peace. That even though he didn't in this one, that he, like, there's that, you know, and that in a way is being a sort of symbol of peace. Even when he's not there, he is affecting the view of, like, victims and those in need at that time, you know, which is what a symbol of peace is. It's basically by like the second-hand nature of someone who is larger than life, like All Might, who is so good and, you know, never falters, that those who, like, around the world feel safe. So you've got this little pocket of what Mirio said with the whole cape thing, and that cape coming back this episode, where, you know, Lemillion is no longer there, but his effect is still like felt and also helping, because if she hadn't have seen that cape, you know, that was like her realization to be like, you know, to bring her back down and realize what was going on and how people are fighting, you know, for her sake. And she was like, no, this is like my way out, you know, by using this cape as almost like a safety blanket in a way. So I really like that. Like, nothing of Lemillion in this episode, aside from a torn bit of his cape, and his presence is like still felt. And I think that just that basically tells you just how prevalent of a character Mirio is, even though he hasn't been in the show that long, you know. So, fantastic. I mean, that's a thing that I will never back down on from this show. Like, this show, like, has the biggest cast of characters in a show. I could like you could ever fucking dream of having. And I like the characters in the show are so lively and different, and they all have their like own thing. And that's the one thing I will never say anything bad about My Hero Academia. I mean, I rarely won't anyway, because I fucking love this show. But that's the one thing I'll definitely fucking fault around is the characters in this show. Like, considering how many of them there are, and each one like has their own like different style and everything like that. They're all written like differently, and they all have their own little quirks, if you will. So the creativity to fucking come up with that shit is nuts. The music in this show, they brought out a fucking full on song for this one. That's that's great. Love that. They did the same thing with like Tokyo Ghoul at one point, and I love that as well. I love it when they do that. Like, for some reason, bringing in like like something that is not specifically designed for the soundtrack, which this may have been as well, but like actual full song with lyrics and everything like that to plant within a certain moment, I feel like lifts the sort of like production value of it up, and all of a sudden it doesn't seem like the show anymore, but it seems like a movie of it, like. That's generally what the idea is. Like, when a movie of something is being made, generally the production value is much higher on a movie. You focus more on, like, obviously it's not as long as a full-on season of something, so therefore you can just, get everything, all the fucking, the movie, the production value, everything like that goes up and rises. And I think, I mean, it was always, if it was going to happen for any episode, I suppose this would have been the one to do it, yeah? But fantastic again. Another thing that I'll never fucking falter on as well as the characters. The music in the show, fantastic, always. Oh, animation as well, fuck it again, fantastic. I wasn't sure coming in because, like, the one thing that I was hoping for was that the animation quality wouldn't fall either, because they did say that I think they got rid of well, they didn't get rid of, they just kind of, the animation team that was on for season 3 moved on and wasn't doing it for season 4, so I was a bit apprehensive at the how the animation was going to be, but I love it. I still love it. Absolutely fantastic. You notice as well how Deku had that fucking, like, what was it, like 100 punch thing? Do you know what that image is? That's from One Punch Man, isn't it? When he when he fires a fist at like from behind bloody, what's his name, man, when he's fighting Janos, right? Janos? And it's just a massive fist, But that was like 100 of them. Each one for 1%. Fantastic. Fucking hell. Like, that was nuts. I don't even know what that was either. I don't know if it was just a visual for us or what. I think it was. I think that's what it was. And he was just like, because he was so fast, he was just firing a bunch of fists to get through, and then to basically beat down his outer fucking thing that he was merging with his other dude, so that he could get through to get one punch on his head, on his face. I think that's what it was. And he took off his mask as well. Did we see? I don't think we saw, did we? What he looked like underneath, because I was talking about that. Why does he keep hiding his face? If there's something there, I don't know. Oh man, I fucking love this show. So I've still got fucking Haikyuu to react to as well. Oh, Jesus. Right. So yeah, her power's not inherited from her father or her mother, and it's rare. Now, is it rare because it's? Was he talking about being rare in the fact that because it wasn't inherited? Is that what he's talking about? Or is he talking about the... Well, I guess, the power's going to be fucking rare, isn't it? It's fucking rewinding time, for Christ's sake. But her mother abandoned her because of what had happened to the father. So the father just disappeared, and I suppose the mother would have just been... I guess, the mother was privy to it then? Like, she watched that happen? Oh, God. It's tragic. But that's again like, yeah. So that's it. That's at the ending then. The ending of the, like, because it shows like basically, like Eri's sort of life up until this point, and then you see where her dad, like, I guess that was her dad that was just a pile of clothes, and I was like, that's Overhaul. But then yeah, I kind of did think, isn't it a bit weird how there's no blood then? It's just a pile of clothes. Like, that's not how Overhaul works. So, yeah, that makes sense now then. Because it was Eri that did that. I was wondering what her quirk was. Like, by getting everything from... Like the bullets and everything like that. Like that's literally why I fucking said it at the beginning of this episode. Because for last episode or whatever, after I'd reacted to it and everything, and I watched Blind Wave's reaction to it, and I think they brought up the quirk, Ares quirk, I think, and I was like, yeah, so it's the bullets, right? But then how does her quirk work? You know, like when it's not in bullet form. And that's the reason why, like, we obviously weren't showing it, because at this point it's a reveal and what her quirk actually was. But yeah, I mean, this was a great episode, like, not only for the fact of course it's Deku fighting at 100% at all times, and as soon as he went there, by the way, like, I was like, how long can he keep this up? He can basically keep it up for as long as Ares healing him at the same time, so yeah. But yeah, it wasn't just as good for obviously that, and seeing the fight unfold, and the animation, the music, and everything, but also like Night Eye's sort of rise, and I suppose you could call it like rise and fall, because he rises obviously up into the rank to take over the Shihei Saikai, at least for now, he says, till he gets them like that, like back on top and whatever. But also like his fall, and not by his fall, by his whole thing, but I mean, like, you know, the idea that he over time he grew to become like more sort of going against the great, and like, because I guess just, you see, because the boss himself was saying like I know you want to help me out and everything like that, and yeah, I mean, I suppose he does, but I get the feeling that when he's grown up, and because he is the child now of the boss himself, that because he's that high up already, I feel like he thinks like he can get away with doing certain things. And when the boss says that he goes too far and everything like that, like, this is just another one of those cases where everything he tries little by little, right, to do his own thing to get the Shihei Saikai up. Now he's going against the boss's wishes, right? So it's basically like he's not listening to what the boss is telling him to do, and he's like, I can get away with this, I'm going to do this my own way. And then over time it just becomes more about him. So I get the feeling, I get the idea that it's about him the more it goes on. So I guess that kind of goes into something I was talking about in a pre-discussion or a post-discussion in a previous episode, where I was talking about how, like, I feel like over time I think it becomes less about Overhaul's original objective and more about the fact that he's on top. So I feel like over time it's less about Shihei Saikai and more about him. I think that's kind of clear about what he does to his fucking cohorts, you know, and he explodes them and makes him, you know, and I guess it is, like, you know, for the greater good. Well, for him it is anyway. He'll say it is the greater good. It's like, you'll die for this and whatever, but yeah, I just feel like it's more about him than anybody else the more it goes on. So I feel like eventually it would get to a point where he kills his right hand man with Chrono Trigger, right? So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But that's pretty much what I've got. I mean, I wrote down other things, well, like Himiko was Deku, but it was just, you know, yeah, of course. I wrote down the boost kicked in late for the big guy, and then, you know, and then it basically dissipated just as quick, which I thought was odd. I thought it kicked in late because he was a bigger guy, and maybe because, you know, because he was a bigger guy, like it took longer to, you know, really kick in and get through. But then it just left straight away, you know. So there was that. Didn't see much of Nejire. I thought it was a case of when they came crashing through at the end of last episode, I was like, I'm sure I didn't see Nejire. I'm sure they were with her. So I don't know really what I was expecting. I guess it would make sense if she was to go in and get Mirio, right? So yeah, hopefully that's happening, because I mean, they have to go in and get all the people that are fucking, like, you know, life hanging by a thread and fucking, and, you know, passed out, and everybody. Tamaki, Mirio, Kirishima's in there, Fat Gum. They all need help. Rocklock's in there. Crazy, man. It hasn't even finished yet. The whole thing hasn't finished yet. There's still next episode to go, which I imagine is gonna... It's like gonna continue on. But these episodes, man. 11, 12, and 13. Fucking hell. Fantastic. Fantastic. The show just... It never disappoints. It really doesn't. I fucking love it. But that's what I've got. And then ending that on Night Eye smiling and that just sort of final approval mixed with definite relief that it was relief of him finding out that the future that he gives isn't the definitive end, which means he's not responsible for the death of All Might, which will be the big thing, you know. So that means that there's still hope for All Might yet. We just need to find out what it is that allowed them to change the future, and I still think it's Eri. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I mean, that's all I've got. If I have forgotten anything, I do apologise. It does happen on occasion where I'll forget something, especially in episodes that have either a lot of way too much information together, or it's a fucking hype fest like this one. So actually, I need to keep that out, don't I? Yeah, because I'm repping hype. Yeah, it's in the same book. So yeah. Absolutely fantastic. If I have missed anything, I do apologise. So yeah, if you do want to watch, I mean, if you haven't already, if you do want to watch this episode in full, uncut and everything, because this will just be like 10 minutes or so, the original cut or whatever, then you can do by going over to my Patreon and becoming a full tier patron. You can also get early access there for $5 a month as well. So you know, if you want to watch shows like a week early and everything like that, you can do. I'll not pay for this because obviously this, with the dub being a week behind anyway, you know, I wasn't going to make you wait another week. So yeah, there's that. You know, but for other things like Haikyuu and stuff, you can get them a week early. So yeah, go and enjoy that. There's also shows or tiers, I should say, where you can pay to have me react to a show. So if you want me to react to a certain show, then yeah, go have a look and see what those tiers are all about. There's also Discord that you can go and join as well. All the links and all that are down in the description. But yeah, fantastic episode. I fucking love this show, and I love you guys as well. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.